All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Reese,
Here.
Councilmember Osk,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Gilbertson,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Fagerly,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Butterfield,
Here.
and Schultes.
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proposed additions or deletions to the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Osk,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Gilbertson,
Aye.
Gardner,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
and Schultes.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
Motion carries. Next is consent items. I'll call on City Clerk Renee Larson.
Mr. Mayor and council members, tonight for your approval, I have the City Council minutes of June 16th, 2025, the Willmar Municipal Utilities draft minutes from June 23rd, 25, Parks and Recreation Board May 21st, 2025 meeting minutes, consideration of a Sunday liquor license, consideration of a state 1 to 4 day temporary on-sale liquor license permit for Intuition Brewing, consideration of a state 1 to 4 day temporary liquor license for the Candiway County Fair Association, the Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Legacy Grant Application and Resolution Phase 2, accept final pay application for the Willmar Municipal Airport drain tile installation, accept and final project number 2404A Thompson Park Lot and Ella Avenue Path, accept and final project number 2404B 19th Avenue Path improvements, and the accounts payable report from 6/12/25 to 7/2/25, and for your information, the building permits report from June of 2025 and the Parks and Recreation Board minutes from March 19th, 2025.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
As noted by the city clerk, the item C has been moved to information because of a lack of quorum, right?
Correct.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Mayor Reese. I wondered if if we could pull H just to hear about the grant. I think it's exciting, and I'm just curious if it would be helpful for the public to know where that project is financially and what we're doing with this grant. So,
Evening, Rob.
go ahead, Rob.
Good evening, Mayor, member of the council. We're right now working on the final plans for the Phase 1 project, the schematic designs with the group. We did get awarded the $1.3 million for the grant. We're right in the final stages of getting that project number from the DNR. We got all the documents, the checklist and everything. We're just waiting for that. Our goal is to be able to get that project out for bid later this winter or early next year. It all kind of corresponds with what we can get with Phase 2, because we're going to go for the second phase of the amphitheater that will actually put the roof and the walls and everything in. And that application is due at the end of this month. We would know towards the middle of October, first part of November, if we got that grant. So we're hoping that we can kind of get the whole project going, get it bid out, get the second phase bid out. If we get awarded, then it could all get constructed at one time. So talking to a couple of the commissioners of the legacy, they're saying apply for it because they just didn't feel like many people are going to be able to apply for it. The Rotary Club does have some funding for us to be able to put as seed money. We do keep the same score as what we did last year, so we had a high score. So we're pretty optimistic that we might be able to get some more funding for this project.
Audrey?
So we are able to go ahead with Phase 1. If we didn't get this grant, would we still go ahead with Phase 1?
Yes.
Yes,
Yep,
so
and that's to get
that's
the
a good news.
infrastructure done
Okay.
and the elevated stage put into place.
Okay,
So-
all right, thank you.
Mary? Tom?
The facility, is that year-round use, like the restrooms and the dressing rooms and things like that, or is that shut down in the wintertime?
It'll be shut down in the wintertime.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, roll call.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
And Osk.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
Motion carries. We have no items removed from the consent agenda, and there was nobody that signed up for the open forum, so we'll go to number 9, regular business, and call for the 2025 assessment hearing. I'll call on City Engineer Jared Vogt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Enclosed in your packet this evening is a resolution calling for the 2025 assessment hearing for August 18th, 2025. This is the next step in the 429 process associated with the projects for 2025. Staff is recommending adoption of that resolution, which again calls that hearing for August 18th at 6:30 p.m. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that council might have.
Tom?
Curious if we're using the same assessment methodology that we have in years past.
Correct. Yep.
Audrey?
I just did a calculation, we have to do at least 20%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we're showing that we would be assessing now, if I calculated that percentage, shows 38%.
So we ran some math on that. I believe it's closer to 28%, and the reason for that is related to in the past we've had reconstruction projects and mill and overlay projects, so that percentage changes a little bit. But ultimately, this year is all reconditioning or mill and overlay projects. So there's a difference in the amount that is assessed over those projects like that. So long story short is the rates for the mill and overlay projects are approximately exactly those that were done last year. So the numbers on a per foot basis are not changed, or they're within like a couple percentage points. And that's based on the bids received.
Tom?
Corner lots, there going to be any of those where they've had work on the other side on this year?
No, actually, so there will be corner lots that are assessed, but we have worked through the ones that have been previously assessed that we ran into in the past.
Okay.
Yep,
So we got
So-
all those ones all figured out?
those have all been sorted out. Yep.
Justin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just the status on the different projects. Are we running ahead of schedule, behind schedule? Where are we on those?
20th Street, I'd say, is on schedule. The Western project has not started yet. Last I've been told from the contractor, I believe they are starting on the 21st of July. The Trunk Highway 71 project will start tomorrow, and the county project is on schedule. Technology Drive will also anticipated to start the 28th of July. So all the schedules that the contractors had submitted during the pre-construction meetings indicate that they will be finished according to the contract completion dates.
Okay, thank you.
Vicki?
So I'm wondering on 71, what will happen with Rockin' Robbins? Do you know how that'll be handled?
Yeah, so we have been coordinating with Rockin' Robbins for access on there. Actually, the contractor, and as part of the contract, on those Tuesdays when Rockin' Robbins is going on, the contractor will actually be quitting work early to accommodate the additional volume of traffic that that congregates to that area. In addition, we've been asking, I know there is a shuttle service that's provided as part of that process. It'll be important that whoever can utilize that does that, because there will be delays when you're going from a 4-lane highway down to 2-lane traffic. So there will be some delays, but people will continue to be able to get in and out of there.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm looking for a motion.
For the assessment hearing, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Here we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor?
Tom?
I'm curious, the total cost of the street improvement project will be 6.5 million approximately?
Correct.
Okay. And the amount being assessed will be 20% of that?
No.
No, it'll be greater than 20% of that.
Okay.
And it's based on the per cost footage for the mill and overlay improvements.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Osk.
Aye.
And Nelson.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
That motion passes.
Thanks,
Thank
Council.
you, Jared. Next, I'll call on Public Works Director Justin DeLeo in regards to the 2026 feasibility report, professional services.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Good evening, council. For your consideration tonight is a professional services agreement for the 2026 feasibility report with Bolton and Mink for $21,100. This is, we just talked about the 2025 assessment hearing with the previous thing. This is starting the process for the year 2026. This is a required step in our bonding process to have an engineered feasibility report put together for those projects that are scheduled to take place in 2026. There's a handful of projects that we've identified, both city staff and the engineering staff at Bolton and Mink throughout our 10-year CIP plan for the streets. This would be scheduled or asked for in 2026 are reconstructions of 4th Street Southwest and 16th Street Southwest. Those would both be from Willmar Avenue to Trott Avenue. Creation of a path on Lakeland Drive from Highway 12 to Civic Center Drive. Mill and overlays on Industrial Drive Southwest and Trott Avenue Southeast, along with various crack seal and seal coating improvements, which are mapped out in your packet tonight. This feasibility report will give a detailed description of existing conditions on all these streets, proposed improvements, estimated cost of each project broken down by line, funding sources, any permit information that will be required, and also included in this proposal would be creation of the 2026 improvement hearing, the 2026 street construction open house, and creation of the 2026 assessment roll. That's all lumped together in this proposal. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have. Otherwise, I would look for a resolution approving this.
Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion in regards to this. Roll call.
Councilmember Gardner.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes. Osk.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
And Gilbertson.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
That motion passes. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Next, I'll call on Park and Rec Director Rob Baumgarn in regards to the wall repairs at the Civic Center.
Yep, I actually got some good news about what the east wall repair. So tonight's going to be to adopt a resolution to accept the bid from Building Restoration Corporation for $51,514 and authorize the execution of the necessary documents to proceed with the east wall repair at the Civic Center. Most of you were on the tour and saw the damages that we had with the wall and with the door. So we had 2 vendors come out, and they said this is standard practice of what they do. They tested the wall, they tested the beam, and Building Restoration was the lowest bid. They also did the work at the DOAC that we had a couple years ago, so we were very pleased with the work that they've done there. And it's $51,000. We have $80,000 in the CIP for this repair, so it fits within the budget. Yeah. So, answer any questions.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion. Justin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the good news. Certainly supportive of getting this done. It's a big priority for us. My question is on the car report. Under the financial issues, the remaining $28,486, it lists that if this is approved, the staff will evaluate whether to use the remaining funds to install metal siding to further protect the repaired wall. Would that be something that you would come back to us for?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We're in agreement then.
Yeah.
Audrey?
I was going to ask about the metal siding too, and why that was being looked at, if it was if they were able to resolve the issues that were identified.
Well, we're doing just the tuck pointing. They said to our study that we got from the structural engineer from Bolton and Mink says if we put the steel siding on, we will eliminate all the water moisture problems that we do have. So this is just to get us to get the cracks and everything filled and everything. So eventually we should probably reside the building to protect our investment.
So I've been out there and looked at it, but where would we be at with the other sides of the building if we were to just do this side with metal?
This is the only side that we're having
That's
tuck
what I
pointing
thought.
issue.
But it's the only brick side left?
I would say the north side is too, but it doesn't get the sun and the moisture.
Okay,
For
the
some odd
north
reason,
side
that's-
still is the same as the
Cor-
east side?
Correct.
Okay.
For
All
some
right.
odd reason, the east side gets it more than anyone else.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Fagerly.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Osk.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
And Gardner.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The motion passes. Once again, I'll call on Rob in regards to the covered ice rink upgrade.
Yep, this is going to be a change order number 1 for the outdoor covered rink. It's the adopted resolution approving the change order number 1 in the amount of $35,918 from Tradesman Construction for upgrading the footings for the outdoor covered rink. I'm going to put this as how I learned about this, which I feel like it's a little bit backwards, to be honest with you. So when I was told about this change order, what they explained to me is that when the bid process was going out and all the specs were going out, they did what I would consider more of a generic bid form as far as what the footings would be, because they had clear span, they had the legacy building, gray stone, and they looked at all the documents about what the footings should be for this building and everything. So they came up with the specs so they would be able, everyone would be able to bid on it. And so instead of just saying we're going to go with clear span or if we're going to go with the legacy building, it was in our benefit to have it bid out that way so everyone could bid on it. So then when it comes back, we find out that once we get the bids awarded, it goes back to the vendor and they do their refining of what the building needs to be as far as their specifications, and this happens to be with the footings. Okay, so I'm like, well, we should have known ahead about this, of how the processes needs to be done. So learning curve that when we do pre-engineered buildings, they're going to find out that there's going to be different specifications once the building gets approved. So that's where it's at now, is that they are saying from their standpoint with their building that they need to upsize the footings, put 60 more yards of concrete in the footings, and they'll put 4,000 pounds more of rebar in that footing to make sure that it's a sound structure for what their building is.
It's uncomfortable and awkward to me.
I fought back on this. I was like, well, how can we resolve this? I mean, we're finding this out secondhand. It just seems like it's just, you know, you don't want to say it's funny business, but it's just seems odd and that type of stuff. So,
Audrey?
Thank you, Mayor Reese. Would this company have gotten the bid if it had been bid differently with the others?
yes, they would still be the low bidder.
Okay.
Steve?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. It seems to me, and I wrote lots of questions down, and I got most of them answered, but walking through how we got to this point, because this change order bugs me a lot.
But it bothers me too.
And you and I had a conversation about this with Park and Rec, but the thing that I wonder, and this is probably more rhetorical than anything, we tried to create a fair bid process for the concrete scope of work. In the process, it seemed like we created an unfair process or an uneven playing field for the building scope of work, right? So, because we allowed some leeway or more of a design build in what the building was going to be, placed on top of a generic footing, and the reconciliation happens through the submittal process, right? Okay, so what would have happened, we'll never know, but had we bid the whole thing, design build, we wouldn't be having this change order, I can guarantee you that. Now, would the price of the building be different? Who knows, right? But we wouldn't be having this conversation, because in a true design build, you give somebody a narrative, they bid to it, and they own it. There's none of this, hey, we bid this, it's wrong, therefore you owe me more money, right? The thing that really bugs me about this is we're chewing up almost 50% of our contingency, and we haven't put a shovel in the ground yet.
I've expressed that to the group.
So, that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Audrey?
Well, several of us are uncomfortable with this, but what is our choice right now?
I don't think we have one.
Or we don't do it.
Correct.
Tom?
Are there building alternatives to downsize the building to meet the footings? It's a silly question, but is that an option?
I'd probably say no.
Well, that was the question. Thanks, Tom, for bringing that up. One of the questions I have written down is, we had a footing spec, and maybe Jared can answer this question, I'm not sure. But could they provide a building that fits on that footing, that still meets the spec? Did somebody at bid time do that? Is there an option out there? And if so, what does that do to our cost? Kind of get what I'm asking with that, Jared?
Yeah, Mayor, Council. So with the building system through this manufacturer, downsizing the building wouldn't necessarily reduce the footing sizes, if you're following what I'm saying. We could eliminate some footings, but then the size of the rink would be significantly smaller.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be a full-size rink at that point. So short answer is yes, you could reduce the size, but the functionality of the intended structure would not be the same.
Well, that opens the door to the next question then, is then how did we determine the size of the footing that we were going to bid on if we would have to reduce the size of the building post-bid?
The number of footings would have to be reduced,
right,
to achieve the cost savings.
Okay.
Tom?
Jared already answered it, Steve. Councilmember Gardner asked the question I was going to ask.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
If not, Mr.
Mayor,
Mayor?
I have a question.
Yes.
So if we already have a change order for this, are there going to be more, do you think? Or is there anything else that they could want to change?
So the shop drawing process is nearly complete. There's a few miscellaneous items, but we are not anticipating any more change orders for this project.
Carl, did you?
No.
No? Okay, Justin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. How about other ways that we need to spend the contingency funds? I'm going to join my colleague in concerns over spending almost all of them on this one change order. What happens if we have other needs in the future?
So, again, we're not anticipating any, but if that comes up, we'll have to be back before you asking about them.
And in your experience with projects, there's a reason that we have contingency funds, because that does happen frequently.
From time to time, yes.
Yeah.
Steve, did you have another question? No?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Osk.
No.
Nelson.
No.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
And Fagerly.
Aye.
6 ayes, 2 noes.
The motion carries.
Thanks, Council.
All right, resolution to acknowledge donations, second quarter. City Clerk Vernay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'd like for you this evening to acknowledge the donations that we received in the second quarter of 2025 from April 1st through June 30th. They are $500 from Home State Bank for the 2025 Welcome Week, $250 from Pact for Families Collaborative for the 2025 Welcome Week, $10,000 from CHS Community Giving Team for the Fire Department for Safety Excellence Award, $100 from Paul Magnuson for the Willmar Police Explorers, $200 from Julie's Petroleum for the general programming at the Community Center, and $200 from Mick Quinn Insurance for the general programming at the Community Center.
We need a motion to adopt a resolution acknowledging these contributions.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and we got a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Fagerly.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Osk.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
And Gardner.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
That motion carries. Next, Justin, you had a question.
Yeah, I just had 2 questions, kind of scheduling wise for the city council. One, I'm not sure if this is for HR or for the administrator, but I believe that we're significantly behind on our annual performance review for the administrator. I've yet to see anything in email signaling the start of that process. Is there a timeline for that?
We'll develop one. We'll get it on the docket.
Okay, thank you. And then, Chief, I was wondering too, if you go on Facebook, this is like the crime haven of the world in Willmar, Minnesota. Apparently, crime is just through the roof. I don't find that to be true by my experience, and I'm wondering if you could provide the council in the next couple months some statistics. I know you carry all of these, you have reports. If you could run us back maybe to 2019 and we could look at what's been going on with various different kinds of crime within the community that you and your officers have seen, so we can bring some truth to social media. All right, thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, my question is for city. We had Leslie, we had the fire on 7th Street Northwest at the fairgrounds here a few weeks ago or so. I got a phone call on Saturday about all the debris sitting out there and it's all taped up yet. Can the people get in there to remove it, or is that considered like a scene yet where they can't get in there and remove it?
maybe Chief Holm would be better off to answer this on something like that, where the fires are, and they've had the taped up yet on the residents.
On 7th Street,
Can they
northwest.
remove those?
I can check and see if it's, because it
Be-
was part of the fire marshal part, if that portion's done. I know
Yeah.
they sent some stuff in for samples, for accelerants if they're done on that part.
Yeah, because if that's not done, then they don't want anybody in the,
Okay, I just
Yeah.
got asked that on why it was all looking like it is.
yeah. That was
Thank
going to
you.
be my answer. I didn't want to say that though. Ask
All right, announcements. Anybody got announcements, Audrey?
Well, it's kind of a request, I'll say it that way. We've been doing a great job putting things on Facebook and some fun things, and it's been really fun to watch and exciting about it. But I have a request that we get our actual page updated with names. We do not have current names of who's on boards. Some of the previous council members are still listed in positions and those
You mean our
types of things.
website?
The website, yes.
Yes, not the Facebook site.
No,
website.
not the Facebook, but we've spent a lot of time and energy doing Facebook. But if we're trying to get people to go to our website
Yep.
to sign up for things and to do things or to look at things, some of the names on there are extremely outdated.
Yes.
And I know I've asked about it before, and so I'm just making kind of a formal request to get that thing up to date.
Yep,
Okay,
we're working on it.
anything else? Any announcements? If not, we're going to go to a closed session. This portion of the regular meeting of the city council will be closed pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13D.05, subdivision 3C3. The council may be asked to take formal action after concluding the discussions in a closed session. The following real property will be discussed separately in the closed session. Parcel Candy County parcel ID 95-921-5900. I need a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, or roll call.
Councilmember Butterfield.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Gilbertson.
Aye.
Gardner.
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
And Davis.
Aye.
8 ayes, 0 noes.
The motion passes. The city council is now in closed session pursuant to Minnesota statutes 13D.05 subdivision 3C3. The time is 7:03. In addition, the city council also present in the closed session are Leslie Valiant, city administrator, Vernay Larson, city clerk, Kyle Box, city operations director, Tom Odens, finance director, Justin DeLeo, public works director, Rob Baumgarten, parks and rec director, and Robert Scott, city attorney. This meeting must be recorded, tape recorded.